Monday Nitro number 218.
Sometimes I call him Dude.
November 22nd, 1999. Jeff Jarrett is walking around backstage with no shirt like a geek. Just announcing to nobody, it's my time, I'm the chosen one, I'm taking matters into my own.
That's how the show started.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a bad show.
Walking around with his guitar and shirtless.
So here's a novel idea. Let's take the guy who was world champion of the other company, got unfairly screwed out of his championship, and everyone knows it. We'll sign him, and he'll put our belt on him. It took him 2 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
Bret Hart is world champion now.
Yeah, he won a tournament last night beating Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
So at least at the end of this bullshit tournament, they at least figured out, let's have two great wrestlers have a great wrestling match in the main event. Dudes tried to run in, they all got thwarted, and there was actually a clean finish.
Everyone, that is the storyline. The storyline is they tease a shitty finish. If you had to get the pay-per-view to see a clean finish.
Yep.
They showed clips. There were a bunch of people trying to run in, but they showed here the Outsiders trying to interfere. Why? Why would the Outsiders interfere in a Bret Hart Chris Benoit match? What do they care?
Well, it'll make sense later.
I guess it does. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
All right. So Bret cuts this promo, says he thought about quitting this year. He had his ups and his downs. Thanks his fans for sticking by him. Dedicates the win to his dad up in Calgary. Says, I want to do the right thing by a guy who I consider still to be the U.S. champion. I want to offer Bill Goldberg a title shot. Everyone cheers at Starrcade.
Oh.
I'll go boo.
I booed. That's the end.
I thought the end was last Starrcade.
No, the super kick of doom. That ends Bret's career.
That end. Yeah.
Fuck.
So the Outsiders, in fact, interrupt. Hall appeared to be drunk.
I thought that too, because I thought for sure he was fucked up, but he managed to get his entire promo out totally fine.
Yeah. He's wearing a Michigan Strip Club t-shirt, which
The landing strip.
he pointed out later. So he's clearly not
Got a
ashamed of
huge
it.
pop.
They bury so they bury Bret for his Boy Scout ways. Here's the difference between Bret Hart and Kurt Angle. Angle says, essentially, I am a Boy Scout, therefore you should all follow me. Bret does not say he's a Boy Scout. He just acts that way and stands for honor and integrity, and the bad guys all make fun of him. And it was the 90s, so they cheer for the bad guys anyway.
At one point, Scott Hall said, Bret, you should take some lessons from the Outsiders because we are the reason that WCW is the place that it's in right now. Has he been watching this show?
They took credit for taking WCW from the outhouse to the penthouse.
They actually turned it around twice.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
They eventually challenged Bret and Goldberg to a tag match. Bret accepts. I'm wondering if anyone's going to ask Bill if he wants this match. But then out comes Jeff Jarrett, who lays out Bret with a guitar shot, says this belt belongs to him, and poses with it as they debut his Kid Rock knockoff music.
This guitar was so heavily gimmicked that the pieces, when they exploded into the air, fell like leaves from a tree.
God, the funniest video of Paisley. I took her to Granny's house for Halloween.
You smashed her with a guitar?
There's a point to this. And she's got a little Halloween costume on, and Granny wants to take a picture of it. And so Granny goes, Paisley, turn around. And so Paisley's 2, so she turns all the way around.
I see, yeah.
And Granny's like, no, turn around. And so she just keeps turning in a full circle, and Granny's trying desperately to take a picture of the back. Paisley's the Outsiders.
Sure.
Actually, yes.
They turned it all the way around.
I confirm.
It was shitty. They turned it around, and then they turn it around again.
As the Outsiders noted here, we do whatever we want, whenever we want, to whoever we want. Paisley's the Outsiders.
Yes.
Yes.
There's so many correlations here. She acts like Hall half the time.
Yes.
Drunken?
Stumbles around and slurs her speech.
Yes.
Falls down all the time.
Wacky hairdo.
Yep.
Yep. Mike Tenay interviews Kurt Hennig, who is
remarkably similar hair. When Hall's hair is down. Yeah. God damn.
Is she going to start shaving now, give her the stubble?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Tenay interviews Kurt Hennig, who was pinned at Mayhem. His career is over. Says
I watched this fucking show for weeks, and they paid it off at the pay-per-view. That actually makes me mad. God damn it. You know what? No one else bought that pay-per-view either. That pay-per-view died a death.
Of course it didn't. So Kurt says he's there. He's got one more thing left to do. He'll never wrestle for WCW ever again. He's a man of his word. And he said if he got pinned, he'd never wrestle again. He did? I thought it was forced upon him.
Well, I mean, he agreed to it, I guess.
He did?
I don't think he had a
Well, I mean, he
choice.
kept wrestling.
So the whole time he's talking,
That's the least of our problems in this
that's fair.
illogical
That's
universe.
fair. The whole time he's talking, the maestro is performing.
This was a misstep. Okay. Like, I don't want to, I'm just going to cut to the end right here, okay? Throughout this fucking show, every time they're backstage, the goddamn maestro's playing this fucking piano.
Yeah.
So 3 hours into the show, David Flair shows up with a fucking crowbar and beats the shit out of the piano and destroys it. I was cheering for him. Thank you, David Flair.
I'm sure that was the intent.
I don't think so.
I believe that was the intent.
Are you kidding me?
Was
Do
it
you
a
even
cheer
know
for the
what
maestro?
Do you know what happened at the pay-per-view with him and Kimberly?
No.
It was like a complete disaster. Like, Arn Anderson came out, and he beat the shit out of Arn with the crowbar and killed him, and Arn did a stretch. A total heel thing.
Yeah. But
He's not a babyface.
the people writing the show have no idea what a heel and babyface are.
Well, that's true.
Yes.
Did you notice who the girl was with the maestro?
Yeah,
Was that Ryan Shamrock?
It was.
Ryan Shamrock,
How
yeah.
about that? I didn't know. I recognized her, but I didn't remember her being there. Kidman is upset. His camera's missing. And he's mad at Eddie for something. Filthy animals are breaking up, everybody. I hope you all will be okay with that. Oklahoma and Dr. Death are here. Why? They're walking.
Just walking.
They walked
They did.
for an hour.
Yeah.
They did do laps around the
Literally
building.
an hour later, they're walking again.
Yes.
How big is this fucking building?
Why was Dr. Death in all these segments in this 1999 WCW run wearing Hawaiian shirts and Dockers?
It's,
Because he's Doc.
I mean, I'm not going to tell him what to wear, but
Yeah, shut the fuck up then. He'll kick your ass.
oh, he would.
He can wear whatever he wants.
That's fair. That's fair.
What do you expect him to wear? A cowboy hat?
No.
A doctor's outfit because he's Dr. Death? Should he have been in scrubs?
something
Jeans and a
athletic.
t-shirt, just a muscle shirt showing off his giant arms. He's just
Had a heck of a tan.
very tan. Very
Maybe he was in Hawaii before this show.
That's possible. That's possible. Johnny the Bull and Big Vito in their Nitro debuts were meeting with Tony Marinara. An amazingly awful segment.
Yes.
So in like 1992, I wrote a big, long history of Vince Russo for my book. 100 Things Every WWE Fan Should
Are you
Know to
writing
Do
a book?
Before They Die. I am, in fact. I tried to write it as absolutely, positively, fairly as humanly possible.
How'd that go?
That's why they didn't give me the book.
So anyway, he had a video store, a chain of video stores in the late 80s. And then Blockbuster opened up across the street. And he was like, that's the beginning of the end. So he was sponsoring this local radio show. He desperately wanted to get into wrestling. He used to have wrestlers come to his video store for like signings and that sort of thing. And anyway, the point of this is he went to, I believe it was Gleason's gym, and he was training to be like a manager.
Okay.
Going through bumps and everything like that. So one of his very first buddies in the early 90s was Big Vito.
Okay.
So Russo gets the book, WCW. 2 weeks later, Big Vito.
Amazing
Is
how
now
that
a
works.
WCW superstar here with Tony Marinara. And Johnny the Bull from the Power Plant.
Yes. So I believe this is the first time in his life Big Vito had ever seen a television camera
Yes.
because he kept looking at it over and over and over and
Well,
over
I mean,
again.
in storyline, Vinny,
Yeah.
they're plotting a murder.
They were.
And there's goddamn cameras right there.
Yeah, but he kept talking.
So I'd be looking at it too, like, can you shut that fucking thing off there?
I just figured his lines were on the top of the thing.
That's possible. That's
Could've
also
also
possible. So the boom mic gets in the shot at one point. Disco's in the background. He gets scared and walks away.
Jeez.
They're talking about the hit they're going to do, and towards the end, it's revealed Vito doesn't even know who they're killing. And Tony says, "It's Disco, you idiot."
Did you see Disco come back? They
Was that Disco in disguise?
yeah, he had
Okay.
he had a big full beard on.
Got it.
And
Well,
he-
that's why it worked.
And he snuck in.
Hey, his disguise worked. I didn't recognize him. I saw there was a guy back there. It didn't occur to me it was Disco. He just happened to have a hat and fake beard with him.
If you're going to do a comedy
All right.
gag, you should at least see it.
All right. Hey, credit to the WCW. You made it funny, and I didn't catch it. Luger's meeting with Russo. He wants him to book.
Fuck.
He wants him to book. This is the match Lex Luger wants to happen.
Yes.
Meng versus Miss Elizabeth.
Yes.
To which Vince says, "It sounds great."
Yes.
It does.
Ratings.
To who? Who? What? Ratings. This means people's going to watch it. Who's going to watch
to
Meng and Elizabeth?
To the one guy that matters, Vince Russo.
So Vince Russo by himself is going to be watching the. So he declares, "I can't book Liz in a match. She's not under contract to me. She's under contract to you." Lex explains that she spends thousands of dollars of money. She needs a job. She has to do whatever I say. I promise it'll make it happen. And Russo says, this sounds too good to be true. And again, what's good about it? But he agrees. Then we cut to Liz watching a monitor. She's the only person on the show who watches Nitro. And then
the most horrific acting.
She's acting
in the history of wrestling.
Linda McMahon's never been this bad.
No. They go back to the announcers, and Tony Schiavone says these 5 words. Payback for Elizabeth last night. What the fuck happened? Okay, the last time I watched this show, Elizabeth and Luger were together. Okay. I tune in this week, and Luger is trying to get her killed.
Yes.
There's no recap. There's like no verbal or video recap. I don't know what happened at the pay-per-view where now he wants her dead. What happened?
I don't know.
Apparently, somehow she embarrassed him. That's all I got out of this. This is a bad television show.
Now, Brian, I don't want to steal your gimmick, but this is 8 segments before the first wrestling match.
Let's check my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I fucked it up. I'll count again. You go.
Creative Control versus the Filthy Animals. So they're doing this tag match, and then suddenly the camera, like, Kidman's on the apron, and I'm looking at a camera shot that's showing the back of his head.
I had 9.
Yeah, no, I may have missed one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a camera shot that's a close-up of the back of Billy Kidman's head.
Yes.
So this means Billy had to be standing on the apron, and the cameraman had to be, like, behind him and holding onto the rope so he didn't fall to get the shot.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Sure.
So eventually...
Well, they wanted it so that they could see what you were seeing, which was Kidman looking at the screens.
Right.
To see Eddie Guerrero and Tori flirting.
How could have Kidman seen that screen?
Or, as Shivani called it, hanky-panky.
Yes.
This is not the Jumbotron they have at Raw.
No. There's...
This is like a 55-inch television that they mounted above
hanging up over the ceiling, over and behind the stage.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kidman is outraged. He goes running to the back, and Creative Control hits a double slam and gets the win. And I thought, okay, short little tag match. You did a wacky angle, and the guy got pinned, whatever.
Oh, no.
And then I forgot.
Yes.
This is for the World Tag Team Champions.
Creative Control are the new World Tag Team Champions.
That's how they won.
Yeah.
The other guys, one of the other guys quit to go beat up the guy who was hitting on his girlfriend.
Yes.
So we go backstage to show the guy attacking the guy who was hitting on his girlfriend, and it's so important that we then go to somewhere else in the back.
Yes. Kidman attacked Eddie. Eddie Guerrero and his girlfriend were making out, and Kidman got mad at Eddie.
Which is fine. I understand. But like in the middle of this brawl...
How about the other half?
He mad at Tori too. Well, we'll get to that.
He wasn't.
We'll get to that. He, this is in the middle of this brawl, which is so important that Kidman walked out of a World Tag Team title match, and then they cut away to somewhere else in the back. Mike Tenay is interviewing Bret Hart and Bill Goldberg. Bret's ranting about the Outsiders and Jarrett, and Bill says, listen, you go take care of Jarrett. Leave the Outsiders to me. And Tenay says, you'll take on the Outsiders in a handicap match? Bill says, not necessarily. Stacy Keibler.
Now Sky.
Sky is her name.
Because she's tall.
She's tall. She does not want Spice to wrestle. I don't either.
This is the most atrocious acting. She was somehow worse than Elizabeth, which I did not think that was
That's a
possible.
hard question to answer.
She was worse than Liz.
I can't disagree.
She was worse than Miss Elizabeth.
They were.
Can we just say they were both horrible?
They were. Oh, they were.
Well, of course they were.
They sure were.
But
Jesus.
yeah, Sky was very bad.
Kurt meets with Buff Bagwell. Says, listen, I know you pinned me last night to end my career, but I want you to know you're doing your job. There's no hard feelings. As they're talking, the maestro is playing piano again. Now, as Brian explained, the maestro's music is throughout this show, but at this point, we'd only heard it in 2 segments. And both of them were when Kurt Hennig was talking. So at the time, I assumed the maestro, the first time we actually saw him, he was in the background, you can see him. I assumed he was dragging this giant grand piano around the building to wherever Kurt was and playing whenever he started to talk. Norman Smiley comes out, cuts a promo about being hardcore champ. It's horrendous. This fucking promo.
Fans are chanting boring. He says, I'm so hardcore I drank milk 2 days past the expiration date. More boring chants.
I like when he stopped in the middle of his promo to pull a hair out of his mouth. That was a great moment. He issues an open challenge. Out comes the returning Fit Finley.
Yes. And by the way, it was true that he nearly had to have his leg amputated.
Yes.
After the Junkyard Battle Royal. Here he is.
The match right after that, we later learned.
Yes, here he is a few months later. He's got this giant brace in his lower leg. Mm-hmm. He fucking beat the shit out of Norman Smiley.
He sure did.
And looked better with one leg than almost everyone else does with two.
Absolutely.
Yep.
This man's amazing.
And he beats him and he beats him and he beats him. In the middle of the beating, they cut to the announcers who run their mouths for a while.
There was no match.
No.
He just beat him and then they just cut away.
Mm-hmm. Backstage, Luger is...
No. Tony Schiavone plugs O-Day WCW. The WCW cologne.
That's right.
Oh.
You missed that?
I tuned him out.
Oh, you shouldn't have tuned him out. He had a box of it. It's got that fucking horrific logo.
I got to see what this is going for on eBay.
Find it.
I will.
See if you can find out what it smells like.
Shit.
Booze and sweat, I assume? Oh, so then Lex is chewing out Elizabeth as the Maestro played.
Said he was humiliated last night. She needs to learn a lesson. Doesn't tell us what happened, why this is occurring, why he's mad at her, what she did. I still have no idea. And I read The Observer about this show.
Tenay interviews the Outsiders. They are not worried about Goldberg, and they're getting the band back together.
Yeah, so they said they have a plan for him. And Hall says, let's bring in that Riot Squad. Nash says, no, that gimmick backfired.
Yes. That was funny.
Yeah. Sometimes he's funny.
Well, when he's funny, he's very funny.
He's funny, like the 10% of the time that he's funny, he's really funny.
Yeah.
The 90% of the time that he's not funny, he is very not funny.
Yes.
Some guy wants $150 for his bottle of Nitro perfume.
Oh, really? Wow.
That's the only one I see.
I will take that for the Christmas show. I know it's $150, and I said don't spend any money on the gift, but I'll take that. I need to know what it's... I need the scent of WCW permeating the studio.
No.
More so than it does on the average Tuesday.
It's the scent of death and crippling debt. Chavo tries to sell jewelry to the Italians. I think this is the segment where Disco is in the background. I mistakenly said he was in the earlier segment. This is the one where he shows up, leaves, and comes back in disguise.
Hey, Chavo found two good guys to try and sell gimmicks to, though.
They were
into it.
This was a good audience, a good what do you call it? Customer. Well, that's another word. Customers, I was going to say, Craig.
Marks.
The Maestro was also playing in this segment. Tenay interviews Jarrett. He says he'll beat Bret for the title tonight. Evan Courageous versus Saturn. So they're recapping some sort of tag match in the pay-per-view or something, and Tony actually explains the finish thusly. Saturn hit a low blow on Tori and got the win. And I thought, well, he must have screwed up and gotten their names mistaken. It's live TV, that can happen. But no, the more he explained it, I was surprised she lasted that long. That's what actually happened, apparently. Saturn pinned Tori Wilson with a low blow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I didn't watch that show. I'm so happy I didn't watch that
Still
show.
can, you know.
No, I can't. So
this match was so weird because it's Saturn versus Evan Courageous.
That's a good point. That's a weird match.
Yes. So they're doing this match, and you can hear the crowd not really all that into it and everything like that. And then suddenly Saturn puts on the Ring of Saturn, and they pipe in crazy screaming out of the crowd.
Yes.
I don't know what they were covering up, but they were covering something up. I don't know if they played a weird song or I don't even know, but Asia attacks Medusa. There's a pull apart. And who was the stone guy doing commentary? I wasn't paying attention.
Buzzkill.
Oh, fuck.
Brad
Armstrong. Brad Armstrong comes out as Buzzkill. He says it's not about drugs. He's high on life. And then he talks like he's stoned for 10 minutes.
Yeah, he comes to the table, and this is Buzzkill, and Bobby Heenan says, "Hello, Mr. Kill."
Bobby's great. Yeah. So yeah, Buzzkill's here now. It's Brad Armstrong imitating his brother. We said who won, right? Saturn won with the Rings of Saturn.
Yes.
So Kidman's cutting a promo on Eddie. Tori's right there with him.
Yeah.
As Brian noted, he's not mad at her.
No.
Have you seen her?
It's clearly all Eddie's fault that those two were happily making out together.
Yes, he says he wants to fight Eddie tonight, and he hopes it was worth it. Okay.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, so can you imagine if they did this angle in 2018? A full thousands of signs just reading cuck. Just holding it up. That's what it would say. That's literally the definition of that word is what Billy Kidman is here. That is what it is. Oh, by the way, the Maestro was playing throughout this segment.
Yes, he was.
Vampiro and the Misfits are here. They are walking. Oklahoma and Dr. Death are here. They are also walking.
Yes.
Tenay interviews Eddie as the Maestro plays. And he says, I'm not proud, but what's done is done. I'm going to read this whole thing. I wrote it down. I'm not proud, but what's done is done. And sometimes things turn out to be what they really aren't.
I just wrote, not sure what Eddie is rambling about, but he accepts the match with Kidman.
Yes.
Did about cover it?
He is upset Kidman won't listen to him, so now they're going to have to fight.
Ugh, it's terrible.
Wall versus Vampiro. Dr. Death and Oklahoma come out. So,
Fuck this match. There's nothing to say except this. All four fucking misfits. There's four of them.
yeah.
All four misfits attack the Wall right in front of three guesses.
Nicholas Patrick.
Nick fucking Patrick. It's not a DQ.
No.
Then Alex Wright hits Vamp with a chair, and that's a fucking DQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I hate this show.
It's terrible.
It makes no sense. It's stupid. Wall and Berlin are now breaking up.
Yes. this long time faction.
So Steve Williams hits the ring, he kills the fucking misfits. And then Vamp kicks him and he takes his awesome flip bump to the outside.
Doc is awesome.
Oklahoma has to hold him back. I'm so fucking sick of Oklahoma. Dude. The matches have to go so long so they can all laugh at his commentary.
Yeah. That was awful. Jarrett and Creative Control are walking backstage. Jeff is wearing Bret's belt. Bret is walking backstage. And then Miss Elizabeth has a cunning plan. To avoid this match with Meng, she will find a shark cage. Because every sports arena in the United States, in Michigan for that matter,
Sure.
has a shark cage laying
Well,
around.
you got to put the drunk somewhere.
She locks herself in a shark cage.
Why not?
A limousine arrives. We look at it for a long time, and nothing happens. Jeff Jarrett versus Bret Hart for the world title. So, this is just a nothing TV match, but
Let me say what I got out of this match. It had a ton of heat.
yeah.
Jeff Jarrett had a ton of heat. And in 1999, the idea of Jeff Jarrett as the world champion was fucking ridiculous. But if you look at it through the 2018 eyes, and you look at the people that have been made world champion in the last 19 years, he was as fine a choice as anybody else.
Sure.
Now, of course, we got to look at it like it was 1999. This was a terrible decision. But, I mean, he had heat. He could
work.
He was the same size as Bret,
Yes.
largely. He could work. I mean, his interviews are horrific. If I hear slap nuts one more time, I don't even know what
it's
I'll
just
do.
getting started.
So, Dustin Rhodes KO'd Jarrett with the belt. Creative Control chased him to the back. Bret puts him in the sharpshooter, wins. It's fine. Pretty good match.
The only thing I can add to this is they did a spot where Jeff tried a sunset flip and Bret sat down and hooked the legs. He did the greatest sunset flip counter roll up you ever saw. He hooks these legs and he was all the way forward. His head's on the mat. If this had been a shoot, Jarrett would have been fucked. Bret could have pinned him for 20 seconds. It was awesome. It was a fucking sunset flip counter because Bret Hart ruled. Lex is meeting with Liz, who's still in her shark cage.
God. So Luger says, listen, Liz, I'm sorry about what happened. If you let yourself out of this cage, I will go and cancel the match. Liz is the biggest fucking idiot in the last segment or two. She gives him the key, okay? She gives him the key.
Right.
The
Okay.
key she gave to him.
Yes. He then takes the key and he says, God damn it, you're doing the match. If you don't get out and wrestle, I'll put the cage in the ring. He leaves.
He's got the key.
How the fuck is she going to get out of this fucking cage?
Lex didn't think that one through.
The writers didn't think that one.
That's also true.
What is it with girls in cages? Because when Russo was booking TNA, remember that?
He likes cages. He likes poles. I mean, we could go on and on.
Cages, girls in cages and poles.
A limo arrived. We go back to Liz. Sure as shit, she can't get out without a fucking key. Sting shows up. Sting, can you help? He says, you made your own cage. Now you have to sleep in it.
Did we add that Liz's whole plan was to be locked in a cage? Now that she's locked in a cage, she's upset?
Yeah.
Her plan's working.
Well, she didn't notice that you could stick a forklift forks through the top of the cage and actually drive it to the ring.
Yeah, but the point is, like, okay, she's in the ring in a cage. What the fuck is Ming gonna do? Well, I mean, we later found out, but I mean, this storyline is absolutely idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Speaking of which, Kidman versus Eddie Guerrero. So as they're wrestling, or maybe coming out, the announcers get into the whole thing with Arn Anderson. He was fired last night. They didn't know he was an agent until we started talking about him, and so they fired him. That's the storyline. The storyline is the guys in charge have no idea what the fuck is going on.
I didn't hear a word you said.
Doesn't matter.
I'm so zoned out.
That's fine.
In the 84th segment here.
So nobody cares about Kidman and Eddie Guerrero because let's see, it's the Filthy Animals. They've been together for maybe 3 months, and that whole time it's never been clear if they're good guys or bad guys. And now they're fighting. Why would anyone care? Kidman accidentally gets low blowed. He does not want to stop the match. Revolution jumps Conan. Kidman goes up for the shooting star press. Tori distracts him. Eddie goes up top. In the middle of all this insanity, Eddie goes to they're both standing on the top rope. Eddie does a double overhook suplex. Suplexing him over his head. It was awesome. And then he frog splash for the win. Russo tells Creative Control to bring Hacksaw to him. And also go find out who's in the limo. And then Jarrett runs in. He yells at Creative Control for a while. As I wrote here, Mang is being Mang in the hallway. Lex has a forklift for Liz's cage. Creative tells Hacksaw to go see the boss. Tenay interviews Spice. Sky again asks her not to go through with it.
I gotta say, Spice was a better promo than almost anybody in the business today. She was actually really good. You didn't notice because you're busy, like
writing everything down.
Stacy Keibler, who's fucking horrific.
That too.
Spice was a great talker.
Mang versus Elizabeth. Liz's cage is in fact carried down to the ring by forklift and then raised and placed into the ring.
This was like them bringing the princess to King Kong.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually true. Yes, she is the sacrifice. So the match starts, but she's in a cage. So it's all Mang shaking the door and trying to bend and break the bars. Lex comes out. He offers the key to Mang. Mang's crazy. He puts the death grip on Lex. There was no doubt in my mind that the ref was going to count the pin, and that would be the end of the match. No, he just puts Lex out with a death grip. He takes the cage apart more, and then Sting attacks him with a bat for the DQ. And he opens the door. He does not rescue Liz, but he gives her a means to escape her on her own. That was awful. Goldberg is talking to somebody that we can't see. We get outside of the limo. There was a wooden figure they claimed was the driver sitting behind the wheel of this limo, but it cannot have been a real human being because he's just sitting there staring blankly.
Camera shy.
Behind the wheel of the limo. It's been like 30 minutes. He's just sitting there.
Probably fell asleep.
With his eyes open.
It happens.
The Outsiders were doing something, getting warmed up, I guess.
They were laying around.
They cut to Duggan, who stands there and waits for his cue, then walks forward. He sees the maestro playing the piano. If any of you were fans of The Muppet Show, and you remember Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem,
yes.
Hacksaw was Animal, the maestro was Dr. Teeth, and Animal took over the keyboards for this segment. That's exactly what happened.
Segment sucked.
One
of the better things in the show.
It had its charm.
I will share a still shot of Hacksaw howling at the moon as Maestro looks quizzingly at the camera.
Can we get going here? Jesus Christ.
Lash LaRue versus Disco Inferno.
No dancing from Disco. He loses clean. They're still pushing Lash LaRue. I don't know why. Vito and the crew try to kill Disco. Lash makes a save. The storyline is, I swear to God, they're trying to kill the Disco Inferno.
Yes, there's an attempted murder going on. They want to abduct him and then end his life. And he still comes to this fucking building. Stay home. Also, Lash and Disco, after wrestling each other, now they are friends. Lash helped Disco put Tony into a body bag, and then they just left him there. Creative Control finds the limo. Nothing happens. They come back. They're talking to security. The limo's alarm is going off. I had to mute it. This fucking car alarm just driving me nuts. I have no idea what happened. I don't care. Russo is upset at Hacksaw for using his toilet last week. I was really sick, Hacksaw says. I had the runs. Russo tells him to go clean the toilet with a toothbrush. Move on.
He says he has done significantly worse things in his own personal toilet, and he wants Hacksaw to use a toothbrush. There's a reason I give the details of this.
Okay. Spice versus Tigress.
This was the 9th Circle of Hell. The announcer is busy putting over how great it is. Spice allegedly gets a fingernail in the eye. Now Tigress is sad. Sky gets in the ring. Everybody goes nuts. They're filming as far up her ass as they could possibly film. She then takes a makeup kit. She hits Spice with the fucking lamest shot in the history of combat.
If she had hit Paisley with the exact same shot, Paisley would have laughed at her.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Sky and Tigress put makeup on Spice. Fucking atrocious.
Miserably bad.
Jenna Maraska. I'm laughing at how bad this was.
I'm not sure which one said it, but one of the announcers says, there's a big difference between dancing and wrestling. There sure is. Tenay interviews Meng as the maestro played. This is the best thing in the show.
Meng spoke English.
Yes, and Tenay acknowledged it's very rare we hear you speak, but I understand you have something to say. Meng is no fool. Sting stick his nose where it doesn't belong. He tried to use the bat to crush my head. Well, let me tell you something. I want to challenge him tonight. No disqualification. And he can use the bat. I will use my hands. Ah!
You're the loudest fucking guy in the world.
Why didn't Meng do more promos? That was awesome. I get excited. I get excited by Meng's promos. Kurt comes out for a promo. He's too emotional. He can't speak. He leaves. Here's an entire segment. I'm making this up. The limo door opened.
Yep.
End. Hacksaw is in fact cleaning a toilet with a toothbrush, but it's the boss's toothbrush, conveniently kept in a gold case and left on the sink.
So he's been told that Russo has done horrible things to the toilet.
I know where you're going with this.
And he wants to have him clean it with a toothbrush. Hacksaw goes in, he sees, oh, this fucking moron Russo has left his goddamn toothbrush here. I'll clean the toilet with this toothbrush. He could just go into the stall and they cut away. They follow him into the stall.
The toilet's pristine.
They get a close-up of the toilet. It is as clean as any toilet has ever been.
On top of that...
Can they do anything right?
On top of that, when Hacksaw walked into the bathroom, he opens up the stall, he goes, ooh.
Yeah.
And he shudders to a pristine toilet.
Awful.
Roddy Piper comes out for a promo. Buries the writers. Says the only time the wrestlers see the writers is when they're in the showers. Says they all write about TNA and sex because they can't get any. At this point, his mic gets cut. He keeps trying to get mics. They keep getting cut. He drags the producer backstage, takes him, take me to Russo's door, kicks the door in. There's Creative Control. Russo says, let him go. I want to hear what he has to say. And Piper turns, and he is shocked to see Vince Russo there. Now, I understand Piper lived in the hills of Oregon, pretty far off the grid. But he went to Nitro and didn't know Vince Russo was in charge. I'm skeptical.
It wasn't that. He couldn't believe what he looked like.
Maybe that's it.
That's what it was. It was like it may have been like a Wizard of Oz reference here. Like, this is the fucking guy behind the curtain?
I guess so.
This skinny, goofy-looking guy? You kidding me?
Maybe that was it. So he says Russo can't screw him. He's a legend. He's got a bank account. He says he'll beat Russo to death if he ever cut his mic again. Russo retorts, says Piper is 50. He is down to one hip. Needs to join Flair and Hogan in the retirement home. Piper says, I got a contract. You've got to pay me and I can appear. Russo says, okay, you can appear. Here, you are now a referee. Tosses him a shirt. If you refuse, that's a breach of contract and I'll sue you. Piper hangs his head and he leaves.
He says, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Next segment, Piper goes to his limo, gets in and leaves.
He's ranting, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will referee. Yes, sir.
Let's see. Goldberg is going through his gear. Buff Bagwell versus Booker T. Nobody gives a fuck. Creative Control is out there. Buff hits a blockbuster. Creative lays him out. Hennig is out. Hennig pulls Creative Control off of Buff Bagwell. Then he hits him with a Hennigplex. Patrick and or Gerald count 3, and then the bell rings.
I don't know the finish.
I believe it was actually just a DQ.
Yeah, whatever. But the point is, Hennig has joined Creative Control.
Yes.
Remember how over the West Texas rednecks were?
Yes.
Yep.
Kurt Hennig is now part of Creative Control.
We'll see if he can do
with
it again.
Patrick and Gerald. Spoiler, he doesn't.
Oh. So they're beating up Booker. Midnight's dong strikes, and she makes the save.
Yes.
The outsiders are warming up. Russo congratulates Kurt, sends Creative Control to go get Juventud Guerrera.
You make sure to know that Hennig is now the boss. Mm-hmm. Patrick and Gerald not happy with this.
No.
They just got together.
Like 10 minutes ago. Tenay interviews Sting as the maestro played music. Liz shows up, thanks Sting, offers to manage him. Sting, in the smartest moment of his on-screen career, turns to Tenay and says, "You buying any of this? Because I'm not." "No thanks, Liz." This is like the only time Sting ever failed to fall for the bad guy's trap. Ever.
Yeah.
Medusa versus Asia.
Oh, fuck. Dude, this is one of these things about Russo, okay? You could make fun of his booking. You could make fun of his stupid ideas and his storylines and his swerves and everything else. A gigantic problem is I don't even know how to explain this, okay? How the fuck do you take someone like Asia who can't work and go, you know what? This match is going to get like 6 minutes.
Dude, he put the Spice Girls out there to...
Yeah, but that was like a 30-second thing. Like, I guarantee this match was longer than Chris Benoit versus Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot. Okay, they're good. Give them time. You got Asia and Medusa. It's fucking horrific.
Yes.
Why are they getting like 6-7 minutes?
I don't have an answer.
It was so bad. He had like no concept of, if I put these two together, is the match going to be good or is it going to be bad? Well, it's like there was no concept of that. It was like, I'm just going to make matches. I'm going to pair everybody up. It doesn't matter who goes with who. And I'm just going to give everybody random amounts of time. That makes for a fucking terrible show.
It sure does.
This was so bad.
It was awful.
And then fucking Asia wins.
How does she win?
With a shitty hold, I wrote. She used her gigantic quadriceps to squeeze Medusa's neck.
She applies a head scissors.
Fuck.
The same basic hold Eddie Guerrero and 1,000 other guys would do in the middle of a match. They do a snapmare, and they do a head scissors, and they catch their breath, and they do the next spot. And they're doing this, and I figure they're going to do something horrible. And next thing I know, the bell is ringing, and Medusa has given up.
Yep.
Because you see, Asia's legs are big.
Medusa looked like she would have cared to have been anywhere else.
Yeah.
There was no way she was into this.
Could we give Chris Benoit and Malenko maybe 12 minutes without fucking flags? Could we give Kidman and Eddie Guerrero like 12 minutes with no bullshit? No, we got to give Medusa and Asia like 7 fucking minutes. And then we got to have Sid out there in the main event working with the outsiders for a fucking match that never ended. I hate this show.
Mm-hmm. All right, my notes are a little confused.
Today is with Malenko.
Yes, he's suddenly
very overdramatic.
Wearing a Canadian hockey jersey. Suddenly he hates Canada. He's going to burn the Canadian flag, he says.
He's going to light the flag on fire and shove it up Benoit's ass, he says.
And he's wearing a Canadian hockey t-shirt.
Yes, Team
jersey.
Canada. Sweater, actually, for hockey.
Oh, my God, keep going.
Sting walks.
Yes.
Russo.
Excuse me, what?
Russo tells Hoovy his work visa is expired. Hoovy attempts to negotiate by giving Russo tequila. It's bad tequila. Russo spits it on him. He sends Creative Control, "Go get my toothbrush."
No payoff, by the way.
No, we never saw what happened after that. Malenko versus Benoit in a flag match. So, after sending best wishes to Gordon Soley, the announcers then decide, how do you win? Do you get your flag or the other country guy's flag?
No one knows.
The wrestlers didn't know.
Nope.
They had no idea. So, eventually, Dean gets the Canadian flag and wins. The Revolution comes out. They're all going to burn the flag, too. Then they said, hey, let's burn the U.S. flag as well. They throw both flags in the trash can. They cover them with gas. Bret Hart runs out to make the save. The bad guys are chased away, and Benoit and Bret wave the U.S. and Canadian flags. I hope that was not real gasoline, because if they did, it's all over the ring now.
I'll bet, Vinny, it wasn't real gasoline.
Oh, well, based on what I've seen in 1999, I would not put it past anyone. Meng versus Sting in a no DQ falls count anywhere match. Liz tries to interfere. Sting stops her. Lex confronts Liz. Sting grabs him. Meng hits Sting with a death grip and pins him.
The Russo segment was right before this match. Somehow you added it somewhere else.
I told you my notes were screwed up.
I see.
Yeah. Okay, the Outsiders walk. Is that next?
Yes. Then Goldberg walks.
And he says, "Hey, killer, are you ready?" Is that next?
Yes.
Okay, good. The Maestro's playing piano. David Flair shows up, destroys the piano with a crowbar. And then in case any of you thought it was a real piano, David Flair casually flips it over and sends it flying.
Yes.
You ever moved a piano?
Well, he's very strong.
Baby grand piano.
They don't fly.
Well, you know, he's a powerful man.
No, he's not.
You tell me that was a fake piano?
That was a worked piano.
And they had worked music?
Somehow.
Maybe it's just a keyboard on.
It's something, yeah.
Sure.
Because Hacksaw, when he played it, he was hammering the keys. Maybe they had two pianos. A gimmick piano and a worked piano, or a shoot piano.
All right, so Hall and Nash face Goldberg and Sting.
Or Sid.
Brian loves
whoever the fuck it was. Goldberg tags in. The only good thing about this match is Goldberg gets his hands on Nash.
Yes.
This lazy fucker. And he's like, "You're working." And he fucking suplexes him all over the place. He's beating the shit out of him. Nash is being basically forced to bump all over the place. As close as a shoot as you're going to get with Kevin Nash. And then they get the heat on Goldberg.
They sure do.
He lays on the mat. He's struggling to get the tag. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here, but it appears to me that he finally took out both the Outsiders, and Sid hit the ring without a tag.
Yes.
He made a comeback.
Yes.
Goldberg gets back in. Goldberg spears Hall. Sid hits the powerbomb, and this fucking idiot referee is trying to get Goldberg out of the ring, even though Goldberg is the legal man.
Correct. That's what happened.
So as a referee is fucking all of this up, Nash drops an elbow on Sid, puts Hall on top of Sid, the illegal man.
Yes.
The referee counts the pin.
Yes.
Even when they do a clean finish in the main event, it's not clean.
No, it's
Fuck off.
Forget all of that. Sid.
I can't forget all of that.
Sid got pinned with an elbow smash.
Yes.
We saw a head scissors and an elbow smash finish people off in the show.
These are large men, Vinny. Kevin Nash leaped into an elbow
And
drop.
this is pretty much Sid's face turn.
Basically.
Basically.
Yeah, he came out. Him and Bill are friends now. They even mentioned they were fighting in the pay-per-view last night.
Yeah.
Also, apparently at some point, somehow Steiner got injured and Hall is TV champ too.
That's right.
What?
He's TV and US champs right now.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that to my attention.
He's coming out.
That's news to me.
They
He
both-
had two belts backstage, and then they come out, they're each wearing a belt, and Shivani's like, in case some of you were wondering why there are two belts here. And he tried to explain it, but he was confused. I was confused. But yes, Scott Hall has two belts now.
This is history's dumbest program. Would you like to do your finishes report, and then I will do the world famous segment count?
That's a good plan.
Okay.
World famous.
Here we go.
It's been 2 weeks.
It doesn't take long.
Things travel fast, went viral.
Yeah.
The finishes on this show were pin after one guy ran out on one friend because his other friend was trying to boink his girl. Clean submission. DQ when guy uses chair for no good goddamn reason. Pin after belt shot. Pin after distraction. DQ due to a baseball bat when there's already a cage and interference in the ring. Pin despite interference. Ref stoppage due to eye injury. DQ or pin or something after interference by the tag champs and a retired guy. Clean submission. Win in a flag match. Pin after distraction. Pin after elbow drop.
Wow. Good timing.
Nice.
All right, your finishes report is done, and so it is time to count segments. Okay, I may have missed one or two here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't distract me. 10, 11,
He's doing math.
12. It's not math. 13, 14,
math.
15,
It's very math.
16. If I get screwed up, I'm starting over. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's a long one. Roddy Piper. 22, 23, 24, 25.
Get that drop.
26, 27, 28, 29.
Is that what he showed you the locker room that one time?
30, 31, 32, 33. Don't make me start over. 34, 35. The answer is no, by the way. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. 44, 45, 46, 47,
Christ.
48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73
Good Lord.
segments here on the show tonight.
Right.
Somebody tweeted us earlier today, and they had like those
Greg,
little...
don't jump the gun here. 73 segments.
That's a
Okay?
lot.
What is 42 times
make
3?
cell.
126 divided by 73. One segment every 1.7 minutes.
Wow.
What a horrible show.
Fucking appalling.
Anyway, some guy on Twitter tweeted us today, and he had his phone out, and he had a counter, and he said he was going to count the segments. I said, dude, you're going to get a hand cramp.
Counter lit
You're
on
going
fire.
to have to ice that hand. Ridiculous.
Well, everyone, that's it. We're out of here.
Speaking of Twitter,
Yes.
Kenny Kimberly just tagged all of us 2 hours ago. Is it my television or was there random piano music during most of the skits of Nitro this
I
week?
saw that.
Yes.
Maybe he hadn't finished yet.
Maybe
he hadn't got to the end of the
well,
show.
they showed the maestro in the very first segment,
That's
so
true.
clearly he was not
Kenny,
paying attention.
it's the maestro.
Yes.
He's playing piano. It's not your television. Do not smash it with a crowbar like David Flair would do.
Yes. All right, everybody, we're out of time. We're going to wrap it up for today. Check out the front page for information on when we'll be back. I don't think we're doing a show Thanksgiving. We might. Got to figure that out.
Do I have a vote?
Of course not. We do it every year on Thanksgiving, I think. I just got to make sure I'm going to even be around to do it. But anyway, we'll have a lot of shows coming up, so check it out, everybody. That is it. We will talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.